Chasing that MLB dream. The reality remains clear. Who is draftable, who is picked, and who is overlooked is ultimately shaped by the eyes of that scout. The journey to the big leagues is more about an opportunity than it is about talent, as I have come to learn that the best talent doesn't always make it to the show. It's about the right time and right place. I just can't tell it all. Get my book at your diary 247.us. That's your diary 247.us. Chapter 5, MLB Scouting. Once drafted by an MLB team, that player's path takes a new direction. While scouts identify talent, players are then integrated into a comprehensive organization focused on their development. Their progress toward reaching the major leagues is shaped by expert coaching and crucial front office strategies. Purchase the book at your diary 247.us. That's your diary 247.us.
Yeah, but I mean, then again, some kids, you have some of those diamonds in the rough that go to schools that don't get exposure and not good teams. I mean, our major league teams still having trial camps. I haven't seen or heard of one of them in years.
Well, like I said, it's not a mandatory deal.
Yeah.
But they do have them listed on their team page.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Reds will host one in Texas every now and then. They would host one in Georgia every now and then. They're states still, but they're not mandatory because of so much summer league coverage now that's going on in baseball with the East Coast Pro, the area code games. There's a lot of summer events going on. So a lot of kids rather be seen by 30 clubs versus one.
But what about that kid that can't afford or just overlooked by those good teams? And I mean, the inner city kids, there are a lot of kids with that talent and ability, but they raw. They may be 2-3 years behind the polished ball players, and they need a developmental program to help to develop them.
Right, and that's why I was mentioning first about trying to secure a college scholarship, because that buys you more time. Because the way the game is going now, they're lowering the number of kids who can actually go out and participate in baseball just because of the economics. So with that in mind, the game is almost like pushing you towards college. So if you're not ready to go out and sign professionally, you're doing yourself a detriment because you'll be released quicker because you won't have the necessary abilities to play right away. Back in the day, they used to let you play and develop with the rookie ball 2 and 3 years, but now they're kind of eliminating all these extra levels where they kind of want the kids that's got a little bit more polish to them that came from mostly college or was a high school draft pick that'll get an opportunity to play.
So you're saying you can extend your career by going to college first, maybe even junior university, then sign with a scout?
I would say so. And the key to this whole dilemma or baseball is you got to remember, in high school, we draft you on your potential. In college, we draft you on your performance, because now we got a track record that proves that you played against other guys that are collegiate players. Like most collegiate pitchers get drafted are normally Friday night starters because they're considered the better pitchers on the team. And they're playing against the other team's better pitcher. Now, every now and then, if you loaded like a LSU or Wake Forest where they got guys that pitch Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, those are the exceptions to the rule. But for the most part, most scouting comes on Friday nights in collegiate baseball.
So the question is, these tournament teams, is it pricing good ball players out that can't afford to pay it? Is it pricing them out of the game or out of the opportunities, I should say?
Yes, it is. Hell, it's almost pricing out baseball clubs because we have to go watch all these guys. And they're like, a good example is the area code games host about maybe 8 teams with 30 players rosters. So you're looking at almost 240 players. Mm-hmm. So you got to have more than 2 to 3 scouts there to watch all these events. Mm-hmm. So you're talking about paying for flights from Louisiana to California or even New York to California, hotels. I mean, the game is pricey, not only as the parents and the players, but it's pricey for organizations because you got to determine how much coverage you want. But these are the so-called better players that's being in one place. So it makes it economical for clubs to go there because they get a chance to see all of the players in one spot, but it's also pricey. And I can only understand what the parents are going through because they got to do this every weekend, to try to be seen, which I think is an overkill, but to each his own.
Yeah. And then as a scout, you kind of make your own schedule. People think y'all or scouts have this glamorous job where you seeing ball players. They don't know in the off season you sending out mailing to the coaches in your area because scouting's by territory for this schedule. Then you got to figure out of 200 schools on any given day where you go be at to see a ball player, and you might drive 200 miles to see one way to see a kid, then pick up another kid 150 miles away. So you're spending more time on the road on the highway than you are actually at a game.
I used to do that. I don't do that anymore.
Excuse me, I forgot. You big time. You fly now. Excuse me. Well, we going back to your amateur days.
Amazing.
No, I still see amateur players, but the point I'm making is a lot of our work is done now, the summer before or the spring before. Yeah. So when we go to all these events in the summertime, we're not going there to see the kids. We're going there to eliminate names because we hear about 150, 200 kids a year from the year before, or we have seen them the year before. So what we do is we go to eliminate names because don't forget it's a 20-round draft. So there's no need for me to keep going down there seeing that, as you call it, diamond in the rough, because now we're going to the games where it's more fish in the pond.
Mm-hmm. And then one thing I would tell kids too, you got a high school senior that think, okay, well, I'm going to get drafted. Scouts don't know about him, but he's having a great year, so think he's going to be drafted. I used to tell my guys, in reality, the draft list is already in. It goes in before the summer, the end of the summer. So that draft list is pretty much, unless you just really, set the world on fire, that draft list is already set. So realistically, a high school senior is not going to put himself on somebody's draft list. And that was when it was 20, 30, 40 rounds. Now it is less. Best you can do is go to college or find some place to continue playing ball to put yourself in that position.
I would agree. And also, there are some very unique situations where, like a good example, but he still ended up going to college. I was down there in Lake Brantley, Florida, back in the day, what we call snowbirding. And I was able to compile a list of players that they told me to go see play down in Florida to do coverage. While I'm down there, I just happened to stumble across a kid by the name of Ricky Weeks. Mm-hmm. And I was trying to figure out why nobody's on this kid and, what's the, he's got to have a story because everybody has a story. Yeah. So as I perused the stadium and saw his parents, who I thought was his parents, which happened to be his auntie and uncle, and I just asked out of, common courtesy, what school is he going to? So, we can follow this kid. They say he doesn't have a scholarship, which I thought was even more remarkable. So, like we talked about earlier, baseball is a game of contacts and coaches and scouts and try to work together for the common goal of the kid. And in the process, I called my former coach, which was Kadar down at Southern University, and offered him a scholarship. And the rest was history. He went on and became College Player of the Year, number 2 overall draft pick. And this kid was a relatively unknown. I just happened to stumble upon him. And because of the way the game goes, everybody, like you said, compiled a list the year before. So they or they get blind-eyed on talent.
The book is ready, and you can order it online today. Chapter 5, Scouting Players. The path to being drafted. Making it onto a scout draft list is a journey that takes time and commitment. It's not just a standout year in high school. Many believe that having a good season in their junior or senior year will automatically lead to being drafted, but that's often misleading. Get my book and understand the process at yourdiary247.us. That's yourdiary247.us.